Hi dear friends. This is the first episode about the First Persian Empire. Our source is the Book of Empires of Ancient Persia written by Michael Burgan. Let us know if you enjoy watching it. Let's begin. Some of the world's first great civilizations appeared in a part of the Near East called the Fertile Crescent. This was a crescent, or arc-shaped, area of land that began at the northern end of the Persian Gulf, ran through Mesopotamia, and curved southward toward what is now Israel. In the Fertile Crescent, farming first developed about 12,000 years ago. The agricultural life that developed in the Fertile Crescent brought great changes to human society. The peoples of Southwest Asia began to produce enough food to support larger populations. The food included products from domesticated animals, such as cattle, goats, and sheep. Within societies, some people develop specific roles as priests, leaders, or artisans, specialists in a particular craft. A number of early city-states developed in Mesopotamia, along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers and farther east toward the Zagros Mountains. Sumer was one of the most important. The Sumerians built huge temples, traded with other regions, and developed the first writing system, called cuneiform. Around 2250 BCE, the Akkadians became a major force in Mesopotamia. They created what has been called the region's first empire. It is thought that the Akkadians originally formed a part of the Sumerian civilization, however, they spoke a Semitic language that differed from Sumerian. By defeating the Sumerians, neighboring people called the Elamites, and other city-states, the Akkadians controlled a band of land that stretched from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea. Their capital, Akkad, was just south of modern-day Baghdad. When their empire fell, around 2125 BCE, independent city-states appeared again. One of them, Ur, managed to extend its control beyond the Zagros Mountains. Around 2000 BCE, the Babylonians emerged as a power and built a kingdom in the region. Babylon competed with Assyria for influence in Mesopotamia, and by about 1000 BCE Assyria was the region's main power. Around that time, a new people began to appear on the fringes of the Fertile Crescent, the Aryans. The Medes and the Persians. The Aryans first arose north and east of the Caspian Sea, in what is now western Kazakhstan. In their language, the root of their name means noble. The Aryans traced their origins to earlier people known today as the Proto-Indo-Europeans. They first appeared either in Anatolia, most of modern Turkey, also called Asia Minor, or a region bordering southern Ukraine and Russia. From these Indo-Europeans came a group of languages that includes Persian, English, and most European languages. The Aryans spread out across the steppe of Central Asia. Some headed north into Russia and others reached India. The Aryans relied on horses for transportation and in warfare. They, or people related to them, built the first battle chariots, horse-drawn carts that carry soldiers. The Aryans, with their horses and other grazing animals, were nomads, people who moved from place to place with no permanent home. Some Aryans reached Southwest Asia around 1500 BCE and settled in what is now Syria, Turkey, and Iraq. They blended in with the local people. The second wave of Aryans came around 1000 BCE and included the Medes and the Persians. Their language and culture slowly spread in the region of the Zagros Mountains, replacing the native culture. The Medes settled in what is now northwest Iran. The city of Ecbatana, modern Hamadan, was in the center of the Median homeland. The Persians founded Persis in southwest Iran, close to the Persian Gulf. Both tribes came into contact with various peoples who already lived on and around the Iranian plateau. The most important, especially for the Persians, were the Elamites. Their kingdom of Elam was centuries old, and the Elamites had their own cuneiform for their language. Their cities included Susa and Anshan. These remained important urban centers under later Persian rule. In the years after the arrival of the Medes and Persians, the Assyrians extended their direct control over more of the Near East. Their empire grew to include Syria and Babylonia, the city of Babylon and the lands around it. The Assyrians were the first to write about the Medes, during the 9th century BCE. Writing about 400 years later, Greek historian Herodotus explained what he knew about the rise of Media as a kingdom. In the Histories, he tells of Deioces, r.699-647 BCE, a judge who won the respect of his fellow citizens. To bring order to the Medes, the people decided to choose a king. Herodotus wrote, Deioces was so much in everyone's mouth, that all ended by agreeing that he should be their king. Modern historians do not know if Herodotus's report is true. If it is, the Medes might have united to resist Assyrian attacks. Starting in the 9th century BCE, the Assyrians conducted raids into both Media and Persis. For a time, the Assyrians controlled land east of Media and founded a city they called Tahran. Today that city is Tehran, the capital of Iran. The Assyrians also battled Medes who fought on foot in the mountains. The Assyrians forced the Medes to pay tribute, money or goods paid to a foreign ruler to prevent an invasion or show obedience. This included horses, sheep, and camels. And, in a common Assyrian practice, a group of Medes were sent out of their homeland in the 7th century BCE and forced to live in Assyria. The Medes had to work for the Assyrians and had no contact with their homeland. Rise of a new nation. In the first decades of the 7th century, nomads from the north called Scythians, sometimes written as Saka, and Cimmerians attacked Assyria and Media. The Scythians were the stronger of the two groups, and for a time, they controlled Media. The Medes, however, still kept their own king, Cyaxares, the grandson of Deioces. The Scythians and Medes spoke a similar language, and the Medes had. The Scythians teach their boys how to shoot a bow and arrow. Relations between the Scythians and Medes improved so much that they fought as allies against Assyria. The Babylonians rebelled against Assyrian rule in 626 BCE. 10 years later, the Babylonians had secured control of their homeland and then invaded Assyria. Medes then joined the war. They invaded the Assyrian city of Ashur, Ash-Sharkat in modern-day Iraq, and the Scythians soon fought alongside them. In 612 BCE, the allies took over the Assyrian capital of Nineveh. Some accounts say the invaders directed the waters of a nearby river toward Nineveh, and this rushing force of nature helped take down the city's outer walls and gate. According to the Babylonian chronicles, the Medes and their allies carried off the vast wealth of the city and the temple and turned the city into a ruin heap. In ancient Persia, the first soldiers were farmers who stepped up to fight when their tribe or kingdom faced attack. As an army, these soldiers were called Kara. In Media, Cyaxares created a full-time army, called a spada. He likely imitated some of the organization of the Assyrian army, while also drawing on the strengths of the Medes as skilled horsemen. Herodotus wrote in the Histories that Cyaxares was the first Median ruler to separate the army into units of spear-bearers, archers, and cavalry. Before this they were all mixed up together. Archers fight with a bow and arrow and cavalry soldiers fight on horseback. With the end of the Assyrian Empire, Babylonia and Media divided up its lands. Media received the old Assyrian homeland, cantered in present-day Iraq, and nearby territory. In the decades that followed, Cyaxares expanded his kingdom to the north, into the Caucasus Mountains between the Caspian and Black Seas. The Medes also turned to the west, pushing into Anatolia, where the kingdom of Lydia was the dominant power. A peace treaty of 585 BC ended the war, giving Cyaxares control of eastern Anatolia. To seal the peace, he arranged a marriage between his son Astyages and the daughter of the Lydian king. Astyages became king of Media the next year, and he turned his armies toward the east. The Medes invaded the lands of Persian-speaking people in what is now eastern Iran. Then they continued into what is now Afghanistan. Even if the Medes did not directly control the lands they invaded, they at least influenced the local rulers. One of these partially independent states the Medes influenced was Persis. End of episode 1, thank you for watching.